All right, so welcome back. We have one more giveaway to celebrate Toy Story 5, opening in theaters tomorrow. Everyone in the studio audience is going home with 2 tickets to see the movie, courtesy of our friends at Fandango. And we want everybody to have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view. And don't forget, it might seem like it's darkest, but together we'll make the dawn appear. We'll see you tomorrow.
Some of the most powerful Democrats and Republicans in the country were on Epstein Island. It seems the only thing the party establishments can agree on is a love of Jeffrey Epstein and a hatred of me. I'm Graham Platt, and I approve this message because together we will take back our government from the Epstein class.
Your internet experience feels different, ultra reliable, lightning fast. With Fidium 100% fiber, everything you do online works exactly like it should.
Night, bud.
Zach, go to bed.
So is cable internet still slowing you down? Enough already. Fiber up to Fidium. Get a 2-gig plan for only $65 a month at fidiumfiber.com.
Some of the most powerful Democrats and Republicans in the country were on Epstein Island. It seems the only thing the party establishments can agree on is a love of Jeffrey Epstein and a hatred of me. I'm Graham Platt, and I approve this message because together we will take back our government from the Epstein class.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
We have details about the service for a firefighter who died Sunday from the injuries he sustained fighting the Robbins Lumber Mill fire. Good afternoon, I'm Susan Farley. Maine's Department of Corrections Commissioner is questioned about the transgender policy, and a first-of-its-kind assembly was held in Bangor to address priorities for education. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories coming up. First, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Hey Susan, happy Thursday afternoon. We have advisories posted, gale warnings and also flood watches up, both lasting until 8 p.m. this evening. We have gusty winds and heavy rainfall that's moving in. We'll have to be careful with some flooding and also high surf along the coast as we do push forward in time. And there's that rainfall right there that's already moving in. So far, we haven't had any thunderstorms, at least just yet. The lightning tracker is on. But again, we'll be watching for some thunderstorm opportunities as we do push forward throughout the afternoon period. As we do zoom things out, look at that right there. Some areas are seeing some thunderstorms with this, and we'll have our turn as we push this in throughout the rest of the afternoon. So here's Futurecast right here. There's that leading edge that's already tracking to the east, and then there's this and even more off toward the south and west. Gusty winds will be a problem too. Later on tonight, we'll get the precipitation through and even some breaks in the clouds, but again, we'll have more gusty winds. And the gusty winds can reach up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour, and those gusty winds continuing tonight and even as we head towards a daytime period tomorrow. So overall for today, here we go. Showers and thunderstorms, lower 60s for the high, south wind at about 35 miles per hour. Hourly forecast moving forward, rain and thunderstorms, highs in the 60s and even some 50s later on. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Susan?
Thank you, Devin. Ranked choice voting tabulations continue today. Grace Blanchard is there. Hi, Grace.
Hey, Susan, that's right. Election officials were hoping to have results last night, which did not happen. But the tone we're hearing today is that they are confident that today, day 5, will be the final day and we will have the results that people have been waiting for since Maine's primary election last Tuesday. Now, at this point, the Secretary of State's office has given an update saying they have reconciled all 16 Maine counties. Now, what does that mean? It means election officials have gone through and matched the reports that the town sent in with the reports from the state's database to make sure everything is accounted for and all the numbers match exactly. According to Chief Deputy Secretary of State Kate McBrien, what they're doing now is proofing the spreadsheets that have been created for each county, which they will then use to compare against the information in the database to ensure that everything is accurate and accounted for. Once that is done, the final step will be to run everything through the data system and share those results. Now, when that is going to happen is still to be determined. We've been told they're hoping sometime around 5 o'clock, but we're told that they will be working through the night if things cause any further delays and they have to go later. And we're told once that final step does begin, it's a very quick process from there. Live in Augusta, I'm Grace Blanchard. Susan, back to you.
Thank you, Grace. There are new details about the service for a firefighter who died Sunday from the injuries he sustained fighting the Robbins lumber mill fire. 76-year-old Wayne Woodbury of Belmont was the assistant fire chief in Searsmont. He had been in a Portland hospital since the fire and explosion. A procession and honorable transfer was held on Monday as his body was brought back to the funeral home in Belfast. A memorial service is planned for 1 p.m. Wednesday, June 24th at Belfast Area High School. Even last night, firefighters were still on the scene of the Eagle Point Energy Recovery Center in Orrington, nearly 24 hours after a massive fire broke out at the facility. Our Alex Schley has more on the extensive response and why air quality became a major concern for nearby communities.
Just before 9:30 Tuesday night, the Orrington Fire Department was dispatched to the Eagle Point Energy Center. Upon arriving at the trash incinerator off River Road, Fire Chief Scott Stewart says crews were met with heavy flames.
Immediately, we ramped up our response to bring in other units.
Stewart says mutual aid from over a dozen departments were dispatched.
But you know, when Newport Fire Department showing up in Orrington, that's not a typical day. And there was several of those towns, and certainly without those people, this looks very different.
This is not the first time fire officials have been dispatched to this facility. Less than 2 years ago, in October 2024, a similar fire broke out, the cause of which was never determined. State and federal agencies were called in to monitor potential impacts on the surrounding area.
DEP's been here with us most of the night. EPA arrived today. We expect some sort of findings.
Wednesday morning, the Maine Department of Environmental Protection reported air quality in the area had reached unhealthy levels due to elevated particle pollution. At the height of the fire, officials issued an air quality alert for people living in the area.
But it's not what's burning or just because there's a fire. We need to, as far as air quality alerts go, we need to have evidence that particle pollution levels near the ground are rising to a level that would be concerning for people's health.
Despite air quality returning to normal Wednesday afternoon, officials say they are continuing to monitor the situation. Fire officials say a crew will remain on scene throughout the night to monitor hotspots. In Orrington, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A scary scene in Hollowell Tuesday came to light with security cameras capturing the moment that several pedestrians narrowly avoided an out-of-control vehicle in front of City Hall. It's important to note before watching the video that no one was injured. At the beginning, 2 pedestrians can be seen walking along Winthrop Street. Shortly after, a Hollowell Code Enforcement officer exits City Hall and walks down the front steps before turning onto Winthrop Street. Then, from the right side of the screen, a red Ford Mustang speeds into view, taking out a streetlight post, and its hood flips up. The car goes up the sidewalk and narrowly misses the pedestrians. According to the city's Facebook page, once out of view, the Mustang continues down Winthrop Street and through the intersection on Water Street, barely missing other pedestrians and cars before finally coming to a stop near the bandstand. The cause of the incident was later determined to be a floor mat that had slid forward and became lodged against the accelerator pedal, pressing it down. Maine's Department of Corrections Commissioner went before the Government Oversight Committee yesterday. Randall Liberty answered questions about transgender policy, including housing biological male inmates with females, and how transgender inmates' rights and concerns were viewed by staff.
You know, sitting here as a legislator on this committee, we've got a bunch of stuff in front of us that says there are people that do not feel safe in your custody. How would you respond to that?
Thank you, Senator. I would say this: in the 8 years that I've been sitting in this position, my team and I have, I would say it'd be fair to say, we have managed more than 10,000 state prisoners. And I would ask this committee, how many letters have you received of those 10,000 that have chronic persistent mental illness, that have severe addiction issues, that have significant trauma backgrounds, have significant criminal backgrounds? I would ask this committee, how many letters have you received of the 10,000 people that I have managed in the last 8 years.
Liberty told the committee that any allegation or concern from the corrections residents is thoroughly investigated. A first-of-its-kind assembly was held in Bangor to address the priorities of education. Our Sam Miller has that story.
Mainers gathered at the United Technology Center in Bangor for the first-ever Citizen Assembly on Education, an initiative created to provide lawmakers research and data in order to make decisions about education in Maine. The event allows for Maine residents to have a role in building the future of the pre-K through 12 education system, with 64 delegates selected from a random lottery pool of volunteers to participate. Delegates heard from education officials on a panel where they described their own unique experiences and perspectives about the challenges they face in classrooms across the state, such as mental health crisis and student engagement. Jennifer Chase, the Assistant Director of the Center for Education, Policy, Applied Research and Evaluation, highlighted what kind of impact citizen meetings have on everyone involved.
One thing that I think is incredibly important here is that you see people actually look around the room. People are having hope. People look like they actually feel like they matter. They're standing up a little bit, they're engaging, they're walking right up to legislators and asking questions. So my greatest goal for this event is that people walk away feeling their voice matters and they have hope for a better future.
Education officials added that involving students in the conversation of the curriculum increases their overall productivity. Chris Betts, an alternative education teacher, says taking an outside-of-the-box approach to education helps keep learning fresh and engaging.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun working with young people and, getting to know them over the course of your time with them and helping them reach their goals beyond the high school environment. Yeah, it's great.
The long-term goal with the Citizens Assembly is to be used and improved upon by others in order to tackle the harder issues in Maine. In Bangor, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, summer travel is picking up. We'll be right back.
Maine's rural hospitals are struggling, but Senator Susan Collins came to the rescue, delivering critical federal funding for upgraded facilities and life-saving diagnostic equipment. Susan Collins does her job, and our hospitals benefited. Call and thank her for delivering for Maine.
Do you take propane tank?
Anything goes.
How about cardboard?
Anything goes.
How about old rug?
Yeah, anything goes.
So this too?
Furniture removal, basements, garages, attics, hoarder houses. It doesn't matter here at Anything Goes Junk Removal. Anything goes. Well, almost anything.
Fathers play a special role in people's lives. And this Father's Day, ABC 7 and Fox 22 want to help you show your dad how much he is appreciated with a special Father's Day giveaway. Register to win prizes for some great local businesses. Our special Father's Day promotion is brought to you by Diversified Inc. in Bangor, Brown Appliance and Mattress in Ellsworth, Herman Meadows Golf Club. All you have to do is go to our contest page on foxbangor.com and register to win.
When it comes to your home, go to the source. Go to R&B's Home Source in Madison. R&B's Home Source has home comfort, convenience, and savings all wrapped up in one location. From the living room to the dining room to the bedroom, we have some of the best values in furniture and bedding. For the kitchen, R&B's Home Source has top-notch appliances from fridges to ranges, even washers and dryers. And sit back and relax with quality electronics. We service everything we sell too. For your home, go to the source. R&B's Home Source, Lakewood Road, Madison.
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the Cross Insurance Center. Browse the largest display of hot tubs, cold therapy tubs, swim spas, and saunas in the region, with over 50 spas at up to 50% off this weekend at the Cross Insurance Center. Visit hottubshow.com.
Graham Plattner called rural Maine stupid and racist.
You're calling me stupid and racist?
Who says something like that?
Plattner said cops are bastards, all of them. Graham Plattner has no respect for law enforcement.
Graham Plattner said some lobstermen are absolutely terrible people.
Graham Plattner, you got it absolutely wrong.
It disgusts me.
Graham Plattner would be a big embarrassment for me.
I would never vote for Graham Plattner.
Graham Plattner? No way.
Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
It's been months in the making. Now President Trump is saying a deal with Iran has been signed and is now in effect. It brings a ceasefire to the war and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, but some lawmakers are raising questions about the financial incentives given to Iran. ABC's Olivia Rubin has all the details.
Today, the White House saying a new deal with Iran is now in effect after President Trump signed the agreement at Versailles, making clear he was trying to avoid economic disaster.
I didn't want to see economic catastrophe.
Iranian state media with this photo of Iran's president also signing. Under the deal, which lasts for 60 days, Iran and Oman will reopen and administer the Strait of Hormuz, though before the war, it was entirely open. In return, Iran reaping significant financial benefits. The U.S. saying it will negotiate to lift all sanctions, unfreeze billions in Iranian assets, and commit with partners a $300 billion fund to rebuild Iranian infrastructure. On the other end of the deal, Iran reaffirms they would not develop nuclear weapons, the same promise they made years ago to President Obama. Vice President J.D. Vance expected to travel to Switzerland to formally sign the agreement tomorrow. But back on Capitol Hill, Democrats excoriating the deal.
This looks like a great deal for Iran and a terrible deal for the United States of America.
And even Republicans, too. Senator Bill Cassidy saying, quote, "Now 13 Americans are dead, families have paid billions at the pump, sanctions will be lifted, and the bombing has stopped. This is the worst foreign policy blunder in decades." And oil prices falling today, now hovering around $75 a barrel, and gas prices falling too, according to AAA, now below $4 a gallon on average for regular, though that's still up more than $1 since the war began. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
NATO Chief Mark Rutte commenting after Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth lashed out at European allies and announced a review of American forces in the continent. The announcement of the review came as a surprise for NATO allies. Hegseth says the reviews aim to see how quickly European nations take responsibility for the defense in the continent. Rutte reacting, saying that Hegseth is trying to keep the pressure on allies to do more.
NATO, of course, is a complicated organization, but very effective when it comes to it. And that means that there are various ways how allies make sure that they pay for their own military what they need, but also to make sure that we can keep the central organization going.
It comes as European allies, along with Canada, have boosted their spending on defense last year. NATO top leaders say that they spent $40 billion more on defense, which is a 20% increase from past. The summer travel season is heating up. The 4th of July is right around the corner, and you might even run into crowds before then over the Juneteenth holiday weekend. ABC has more on what you need to know.
Summer travel is already upon us. The TSA says airports could see heavy volumes this weekend for the Juneteenth holiday, and some days might surpass 3 million travelers. Then just around the corner, we get into the 4th of July travel period, which runs from Saturday, June 27th through July 5th. AAA spokesperson Aixa Diaz says it'll be a busy one.
72.2 million Americans traveling domestically for July 4th sets a new record. However, it's not much higher than last year.
AAA projects most of those flying, 5.85 million, will be flying domestically.
People are still flying, even though the cost to fly is not cheap these days.
But the vast majority will be driving, with 61.4 million people hitting the roads.
Driving is still cheaper than flying for most people. Buying 5 plane tickets is going to be a lot more expensive than just piling everybody in the car and having to just fill up once or twice along the way.
And even though airfare and gas prices have skyrocketed this year, people are still spending on travel.
Costs are up in many areas, but people still want to take that time to just be with loved ones, have fun, and get away from it all.
Karen Hua, ABC News.
After the break, a new program is making sure women get mammograms regardless of their insurance status or income. We'll tell you about it when we return.
Don't take a tiny check for your car wreck. Call the twos.
I got a client who injured their shoulder a big check for $275,000. Hurt in a car accident? I'm your go-to guy.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
This Father's Day, celebrate the guy who's always there, fixing, helping, and keeping life moving. At Coastal Auto Parts, score Father's Day deals on Milwaukee, Gear Wrench, and Carlisle tools. Up to 20% off this week only. With Maine's largest network of parts, finding the right tool is easy at any of our 30 locations. And Coastal Auto Parts helps keep dads and our communities running. Help Dad do it himself with quality tools and helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
Mainly Tacos Dos is located on Main Street in Bangor, several doors down from the Maine Discovery Museum. It's a place for great food, drinks, and atmosphere. Check out our menu online. Mainly Tacos Dos, 64 Main Street, Bangor. From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
As a doctor in rural Maine, we're already seeing the impact. Susan Collins voted to support Donald Trump on the largest Medicaid cut in history. Healthcare is getting even more expensive. People are losing coverage. Our hospitals are closing, and the worst is yet to come. But Susan Collins gave Trump a blank check for his war in Iran. Billions of dollars that we could use here in Maine. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop siding with Donald Trump. We can't afford it.
The number of people being diagnosed with uterine cancer is on the rise. That's according to the American Cancer Society. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
Uterine cancer, also called endometrial cancer, is the fourth most common cancer found in women in the U.S. Postmenopausal women have the highest risk, but over the past 20 years, younger women are also being diagnosed. Black women, in particular, are twice as likely to die from uterine cancer compared to white women. Though genetics can play a part, up to 60% of the risk for this disease is due to underlying reasons, obesity being the strongest risk factor. Diabetes, certain medications, including those for preventing breast cancer and not having children, also significantly increases the risk. Taking the hormone progesterone long-term decreases the risk by an estimated 40%. The most common symptom of uterine cancer is abnormal vaginal bleeding. Other red flags include fibroids and pelvic or abdominal pain. With this Medical Minute, I'm Alex Stone.
MDI Health is launching a new screening mammogram scholarship program. A statement says it's made possible through an $80,000 two-year grant from the Maine Cancer Foundation. The program will help remove financial barriers that prevent patients from accessing routine breast cancer screening, which they say is the most effective tools for early detection and improved treatment outcomes. President and CEO of MDI Health, Chrissy McGuire, says that partnership with the Maine Cancer Foundation ensures that every patient who needs a mammogram gets one, regardless of income or insurance status. For families who rely on school lunches, summer can be a difficult time of the year. As our Grace Blanchard explains, the Bangor School Department is helping to ensure its students have access to food all year long.
For many students, school is not just a place to learn. It's also a reliable source of a well-balanced meal.
Learning is able to happen when there's better behavior and you focus on what you can learn rather than whether or not you're hungry.
According to the Bangor School Department Food Service Director, they've noticed an increase in need ever since offering free meals to students, which began during the 2023 to 2024 school year.
We've seen quite a big increase in lunch and in breakfast.
To help address food insecurity, that service is also carried over into the state-funded summer lunch program, which kicks off next week.
We have cold pizza, we have sandwiches, we have fruit and vegetables and milk. And then for breakfast, we have some breakfast items like muffins, cereal, yogurt.
For nearly a decade, the department has partnered with Good Shepherd Food Bank, but this is the first year the program will be fully run by Bangor schools. The meals will be offered at 3 locations: the Rock Church, 14th Street School, and the Bangor Splash Pad.
They do need to eat the meals on site, that's all we ask. But anyone, any children, 1 to 18 can come and receive a meal.
The program runs all summer long. Dates and times can be found on the school department website. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
When we return, Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years. With Paul and Mike in the morning. Local weather with Steve McKay. And Michael W. Hale in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
Graham Plattner blamed women for getting raped. Who says something like that? Plattner said women should take some responsibility for themselves and not get so effed up they wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to. What's wrong with this guy?
Plattner said to avoid rape, women should act like an adult for F's sake. He's an awful person.
Graham Plattner is dangerous.
I would never vote for Graham Plattner.
Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Celebrating 20 years in 2026, come to the Center Theater in downtown Dover-Foxcroft for great concerts, plays, movies, and more. Don't miss the Traveling Wilburys Review on July 9th. Experience all your favorite songs live on stage. For information and tickets, go to www.centertheater.org or call 207-564-8943.
Hi, I'm Tony with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basementy. Is your foundation shifting, settling, or cracking? Don't wait till it's too late. We offer the most reliable solutions to lift and stabilize your sinking foundation. With our advanced piering techniques, we'll ensure your home is back on solid ground. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Maine's premier community radio station, Star 97.7. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years. With Paul and Mike in the morning. Local weather with Steve McKay. And Michael W. Hale in the afternoon. Star 97.7.
Let's check your forecast with Devin Biggs. Devin?
Alrighty, Susan, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Already, we have advisories posted, a gale warning, and also a flood watch. You can see those right there, both up until 8 p.m. as we head towards this evening. The gale warning up along the coast, again until 8 p.m., and there's a flood watch right there in green. And again, we're watching for some problems right there with this area of low pressure that will be moving in. Again, wave heights haven't increased just yet, but you can see the activity further off towards the south and west and a little bit farther out towards sea. Again, roughly 2 to 4 feet at this time. But again, kind of the calm right now before the winds really begin to increase. Again, water temperatures in the upper 50s. We're kind of dancing between the 50s and even 60s right now. But again, water temperatures still rather cool. So here's what we got. We got rain moving in from the southwest and going toward the north and east. No thunderstorms yet. The lightning tracker is on, but we are going to be watching for this rain, gusty winds, and thunderstorms that will be moving in soon as all of this right here starts to track off towards the north and east. What's right there is currently tracking more towards the south and east. So here's what we got. We got the leading edge. It's currently tracking off towards the east and a little bit to the northeast, and then there's all the showers and thunderstorms and strong winds. And then we'll lose this later on tonight, and then it's going to become some rain but clear skies and also some gusty winds too. Kind of a mixture of a lot of things taking place. By the time we head towards your Friday, still some rain showers here, but again some more thunderstorms possible and even some breaks in the clouds and gusty winds taking place through Friday and a Friday night. And then this keeps rotating through with more showers and even a few rumbles of thunder and a lot of rainfall on the way with the this too. I'm going to run this through at least 2 parts of Sunday and early Monday with at least an inch of rainfall possible before we're all finished up. Lesser amounts farther down toward the south. So for today, low 60s, showers and thunderstorms, south wind at about 35 miles per hour. By tonight, we'll have the showers and thunderstorms early, then mostly cloudy late with lows in the mid-50s. And again, the clouds may break up for a bit too, and that south wind at about 30 miles per hour. We'll have more scattered showers and thunderstorms again tomorrow with highs in the mid-70s and that west wind at about 30 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast. It's still going to be active Saturday. More opportunities for showers and thunderstorms with highs in the low 70s. Summer, also Father's Day Sunday, showers and thunderstorms, highs in the low 70s. And Monday, showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid-70s.
Thank you, Devin. The Nashville Zoo is home to a unique village. It's a village for the zoo's guinea pigs. That's according to the zoo. They have zero traffic, unlimited snacks, and top-tier amenities. Guinea pigs are highly social animals, so the village provides them a space to be around each other. And these endangered cheetah cubs are the newest residents at a zoo in England. These spotted cheetah cub births mark the boost for the International Conservation Breeding Program, targeting the endangered subspecies northern cheetah. Workers at the Whipsnade Zoo say that they're absolutely delighted with the cubs' birth, the first in 15 years since cheetahs gave birth there. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Have a great afternoon.
Fathers play a special role in people's lives. And this Father's Day, ABC 7 and Fox 22 want to help you show your dad how much he is appreciated with a special Father's Day giveaway. Register to win prizes for some great local businesses. Our special Father's Day promotion is brought to you by Kings Mountain RC and Hobby Shop in Brewer, Old Town Redemption, Recovering Bridges Counseling in Bangor. All you have to do is go to our contest page on foxbangor.com and register to win.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
So glad you are with us on Conquering Retirement. Brad Johansson with Lance Gilman and Blake King, Northern Alliance Financial. Gentlemen, it is always a pleasure to be back with you.
Awesome. Awesome day.
We good?
To be in the studio.
Good to see you.
Always great.
It's always great to sit here when it's nice and settled here in the studio, right? And for a lot of you, it's been anything but settled. Look, we're trying to figure this whole thing out, and there's a lot of, I guess, feelings of being unsettled. I don't know where